Okay, well, first, what we're going to do is build some predictive models. We're going to identify leading indicators that should be used in your model specific for your business. As I log into Board Foresight, once inside here, I'm going to quickly go to my demo instance and show you an example of a retail company that wants to build predictive models. So as we land in the application, Board Foresights, what we'll see is some demo instances that we've created. We're going to look inside this project, which is a retail demo. In the retail demo, we like to start with data as we do all of our analysis. As you can see at the very top here, we have a menu path that really follows the process within Foresights to go from data into a predictive model that's usable for your business to help forecast and plan. So as I look at data, internal data is connected very easily with Board, as we have the internal data from supply chain, finance, other parts of the organization. Or you could simply drag and drop a data series you're interested in, forecasting, into the application. From here, we want to marry that internal data of your historical performance, whether it's sales or demand or volume or quantity, with millions of potential external indicators. In our application, we collect data from over 180 countries. That's millions of series that come from OECD, IMF, World Bank, other industry groups, online activity, consumer behavior, etc. But the one thing we know is that 5 million data series is too much for any person to look through. So we've built a very easy way for you to be able to filter this down. You can simply choose hashtag alcohol. Let's say you're in the alcohol industry, and we go from 5 million to 3,200 indicators that are relevant specifically for your business that our engine already knows. So this helps you get to the answers much faster, but still 3,000 indicators is also too much. That's why we built Discover. Discover is a very big part of our application that takes your data, marries that with all the external data in our engine, and quickly narrows it down to a subset of data series that are relevant to you and your business in those markets where you do business. What this is what we call a workbench. So Discover runs within minutes, comes back, and it says, you as a customer should look at these specific external indicators because they are correlated highly with your business, and many of them have lead times. It's going to help you plan for the future. This area of our application is called a workbench. Now, in a workbench, first I'm going to show you how most people typically look at data, and data on the outside in different categories: employment, trade, wages, pricing. We're going to look through. To show you a little bit of how it works, your data is in blue on every chart. We're going to look at data as it happens, which in this case, a customer is giving us monthly historical data in blue on every chart. And our engine is telling us that we've got many indicators that are related to it. Things like employment in the beer, wine, and liquor stores. Other industries' employment as well. We can see wage data, trade data, pricing data, which is extremely important. Producer price for certain motor vehicles, for example, is a good leading indicator here. But the one thing I learned working with economists, working with data science over the years and business leaders, how you look at data matters. Here, you can see a lot of noise. This blue line is your internal data. These external factors are in other colors here, but we really can't tell what's leading what. Well, some of the magic within our engine really accounts for things like seasonality and monthly volatility by smoothing out into a 3-month moving average. Why this is important is because you can show your business leaders the relationships much clearer. Here, building materials for garden supply stores, which is an employment metric in yellow, you can tell it goes into a downturn ahead of changes in our blue line here, which is our internal data, and comes out sooner. Well, in our application, one of the very first patented things was the ability to lead and lag these indicators back and forth to see if there's a leading indicator that we can use to forecast future periods. In this case, if I align those peaks and valleys, what economists were kind of doing in their heads, we can see that there is a lead time for this indicator for my business. Now, we could do that on every chart, but we actually have already done that in the back end of our application. Foresight knows not only that this is related to your business, but it gives you that lead time for each of these factors, which can be anywhere from one period to many periods, maybe 18 periods in the future. We're going to do that across these different categories of data. employment, trade, waging, pricing, finding a group of indicators that we think are going to be used in that final model. Now, what we used to do, and our customers would do, they would take 30 or 40 indicators on this workbench that our engine has smartly found for them, test them out to build predictive models. Well, that's very time consuming. What AI does for us is it reduces the routine and mundane. It actually will test every combination of data here very quickly and build for you not just one model, but really in minutes, thousands of models that are scored and ranked by over 20 statistical tests. So AI will help you guide you to that right subset of factors, even out of this workbench. Now, when we do that, we call that predict. AI building lots of models, scores and ranks them. We want to give the customer the ability to look through those models to pick the one that not only forecasts very well, passes lots of statistical tests, but is explainable to the business. So what Predict's done here is it's published this top model or scored this top model for us. The purple line is our historical data. The orange is going forward, and it has a green line of what the model would have forecast. Now, below this, what we'll also see are the factors it's found in the model. So here, for this retail customer, we're looking at producer prices. We're looking at monthly exports of fruits and vegetables. We're looking at employment. We have producer price index for new cars, as people will slow down buying luxury goods before they'll slow down buying retail groceries and alcohol, for example. So we have lots of indicators here that it's a subset even of that 40 that are relevant in the model. As a user, you can see the forecast, you can see what's in the model so that you can inform your business leaders what is actually telling you that your results are going to be up, or in the future, maybe they're going to be down and you've got some headwinds. That predictive model in Foresight lives on forever. You would publish it. Every day, data can change. You don't have to go rebuild your model. You don't have to go through that initial process of finding the indicators. You get your data updated automatically in your planning system, in this case, Board. So here in this model that we've got published, we also can show customers if they would have used this model maybe a quarter ago, 6 months ago, or a year ago, how well would have it forecast? That's very important. They want to get confidence. So here I can go up to the forecast. Certainly I can see, but what if I would have used this model stopping this data last year around June? What would it have forecast for me versus what happened? Well, in Foresight, you can see that. You can share that with the business. My blue line is what's forecasted. Orange is what's happened. It's only off by a few percentage points. Something unheard of before, to be able to take external factors, build a model with that much confidence and accuracy, really in minutes. We also can see, very importantly, well, what's pushing up or pulling down my forecast? Here we've got a future forecast of 1.7% growth in the month of July. Well, we know it's because consumer price index, good tailwind, things were coming down. But we also see things like destocking of inventory happening at stores. That's actually a headwind for us. So combined, those tailwinds and headwinds show my growth, and I can explain that to my business team. So that's how the models are built. We help companies do that. Companies internally are able to build their own models at scale, getting comprehensive insights that are explainable to the business. Now, I want to take you to Board Signals. This is where we put all that insight that we found. What are the things we should watch? How are they performing? And are there any things I should be concerned with in Board Signals? Board Signals is industry specific, geography specific. So we can do this for any industry, any geography. And it's really an early warning system for our customers so they know what headwinds and tailwinds are on the horizon. The other neat thing about Board Signals, we'll build a proprietary industry forecast with our team of economists. Not only will we build that forecast, unlike other services where maybe you just get the number, we actually explain it right here in the application as it happens. So maybe next month, maybe next week, I come back, we have new data and your forecast has changed. Well, you have an executive summary of exactly what's pushing up, pulling down your forecast, also what others in this industry are doing because of this forecast. Are they taking advantage of it, accelerating time to market for their products, or are they slowing down and preserving cost? That's all here in the application. Now, a couple other parts I'll show you quickly. The early warning dashboard I mentioned. is really a list of those indicators that we're watching for this industry and this geography, not only as they're happening, but also here in the future. Do we see headwinds and tailwinds? Is this a leading indicator for your specific industry? Well, here you have 2 months lead for real disposable personal income. So extremely valuable. Some are much longer. Some may happen at the same time as your results, what we call coincidental, but Board has built a forecast for that specific metric. So you can see what our team of economists believe will happen in the future. That's our early warning dashboard. The next thing I'll show you is really the alerts. So once we know that there are things you should pay attention to, we don't want someone to ignore it. And we don't want you to have to come back every day, look through those indicators and see if there's alert. We've got smart alerts that we set up by default that shows things like inflation, which matters to all retailers and consumer packaged goods, pretty much all companies right now, that if we see something that's concerning, maybe it's increasing several periods in a row, maybe it's increased dramatically, then we'll send a proactive alert, an email to you directing you back to Board Signals so that you can see what we found and take action with your business if necessary. So here we've went through Board Foresight to go really build a model, identify specific indicators for your business, and also how to put those signals right inside Board's planning tool to alert you of headwinds and tailwinds.